Before we dive into this discussion, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Nigel Farage is facing scrutiny over a reported £5 million donation from a cryptocurrency investor, and the issue has sparked a wider political debate. In this clip, you'll see journalist Kevin Maguire challenge Anne Widdecombe's defense of Farage, questioning whether the donation raises concerns about transparency, political influence, and potential conflicts of interest. Rather than focusing on personalities, the discussion centers on accountability and the standards the public expects from elected officials. Whether you agree with either side or not, this exchange highlights why political donations continue to generate intense debate. Let's take a closer look at what each side has to say.
I mean, it's like giving somebody something and saying, dine out tonight. Well, that's his food, but it's still a personal gift.
If it was from his Aunt Ian or his Uncle Chris, that would be a gift. If it's from a party donor who has a financial interest in what the party would do, I'm sorry.
But I note that Anne is not being full-throated in her defence of her leader here.
You notice no such thing.
Farage says the $5 million he received was a gift to help pay for personal security. All right, Anne, take this on. Has he done anything wrong?
Well, I don't believe so, but let me say right away, and I've said it so often on your programme, you're tired of hearing it, innocent until proved guilty. I do not believe in trial by media, and I don't believe that we can actually answer that question. The Parliamentary Standards Committee will answer that question. And if he thinks they've got it wrong, he can appeal. And that is it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he was getting no help with his personal security at all before he became an MP. And he was at risk, and he has had firebombs through his letterbox. And if a donor said, OK, you don't need to worry about that, I'll supply the security, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. In fact, I don't have a problem with it at all. But I am not going to prejudge the outcome because, frequently on this programme, we're speculating on people's guilt or innocence. No, not trial by media.
Well, not really.
Yes, we are. How often have I said to you, he hasn't been convicted, speaking of other people,
and I always
he
disagree.
hasn't been convicted of anything.
I give examples of people who are guilty without having been convicted. Fred West.
I always just look at the facts as we know them, and I think, where does that lead me? Where would that lead a reasonable person, wherever you come from on politics or in public life? And the ultimate judgment will come from the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner. But I just make 2 points. One, this looks pretty clear. He's breached the rules, and the reason is
he wasn't an MP.
He took the money just before he became an MP. But the rules say that new MPs, quote, must register all their current financial interests and any registrable benefits other than earnings received in the 12 months before their election.
And it
within
also
1 month
and
of
the same set
election.
of rules, exactly the same set of rules, which you have been very careful not to quote, says that personal gifts are not part of that.
Right, I'm going to come to that in a moment. And then it says, if there's any doubt, on the side of caution. Secondly, there is the amount, £5 million. That is a huge amount of money. And it has come from a party donor who's given 20-odd million to the party. He's given past money. He's also somebody who will benefit from reform policies on crypto, which is to reduce the tax on it, reduce the regulations, and get the Bank of England to hold stocks of it, which will boost the value and the credibility of it. So he's taken money from a party donor who will benefit from reform policies. Now, he only came up with a security answer when the Guardian newspaper was about to expose the $5 million secret gift, and he leaked it and planted it to the Telegraph. When he's asked to produce the receipts, and reform people are asked to produce the receipts to show it was security, they say there's no need to do that. You don't have to do it. Look, we spent days and weeks discussing Keir Starmer's free suits and spectacles, and I think it was I don't have a go at that discussion, and I think Starmer was wrong. That the money he took in those gifts was 1/271th of the $5 million taken.
I've got loads of calls on this, Anne, but the big issue here is if Christopher, the cryptocurrency guy, rings Nigel to say, hey, you know what, I need something doing here, Nigel's going to take the call.
We had that policy long before that £5 million
it gives him access.
Long before that, and that's something you can't deny. We've had that policy.
It gives him access on anything.
Long before the gift, we had that policy.
He liked the party so much he's bought it. I mean, when you've given that
he
amount
used to
of
donate
money.
to the Tory party.
Okay. Anthony in London, what do you think of this?
Right, if he's really got it for his security rather than his economic security in his life, and there's still questions about how the house in Clacton was bought by, he said it was his, then he said it was his girlfriend's. Where did she get the £800,000 from? And won't answer. The whole point of transparency is you know who is paying politicians, so it's out in the open and you can make judgments. This huge personal amount was kept secret.
I don't think you would accept $5 million from someone.
Probably not. Security is very expensive. Hang on. Let me finish. Security is very expensive, and it was for a lifetime. I mean, it wasn't just for that year. Yeah. It was for a lifetime. And I can see the point, and I can see that he needed it. Yeah. Now, if you ask me, would I accept $5 million? To me, that is such a fantastic sum. But if I won the lottery, I'd accept it.
He hasn't received it from a philanthropist.
OK. I'm just trying to calculate. He's the same age as me. So we've got 30 years left on this planet. Divide 5 million by 30. I don't know how much that is a year. I don't think it's the
person. I don't think there's any tax implications on this because it's a gift. Dan Needle, the tax expert, thought that wasn't the issue. It's the fact you've taken a huge amount of money from a party donor who would benefit from your policies, and you have not declared it publicly. You've kept it secret.
If you're Christopher, whatever his name, Harborne, you're essentially saying, I think this guy's going to go big, but you don't at the time know. He hasn't at that time chosen a seat, etc. So you've given him this money. It's almost like a bet on Leicester, isn't it? Winning the Premier League.
It
is like a bet.
Or you call it an investment.
Yeah, I think that's the worry. Is he must want something. He must want something back.
Because personal gift exemption. That's why.
But if it's before he became an MP. Fine, no problem.
Matt, the rules are 12 months before. I read them.
Excluding personal
before
gifts.
that 12 months before that election.
Excluding personal gifts.
We'll see, but I think you'll find he has broken the rules. I think Jeremy's quite fair saying it's suggested he's broken the rules, but I think that suggestion will show.
So you just discount the personal gift? You just discount?
No, because it's from a party donor who's given a fortune.
It's not a personal
party.
gift, is it? Because a personal gift has no strings.
If I gave
this is for his security.
You don't know that has strings. It's for his security.
Well, that's the whole point. If I give you money for a purpose, it's not a straight gift. If I say, here's some money, but you've got to buy an Elvis record with it.
If it's his personal security, that to me, I mean, it's like giving somebody something and saying, dine out tonight. Well, that's his food, but it's still a personal gift.
If it was from his Auntie Anne or his Uncle Chris, that would be a gift.
If
it's from a party donor who has a financial interest in what the party would do, I'm sorry.
But I note that Anne is not being full-throated in her defence of her leader here.
You notice no such thing.
I know. No, you're not. But you're not. You're keeping your powder a little bit dry because you believe in seeing the process play out. That's all.
Yes, I believe in seeing the process play out. But I consider that I have just put up his case for him, and I don't think I have failed to be full-throated. I'm not going to have that said of me.
But Anne,
it doesn't follow, and I've had this argument so often. It happened with some of the big Tory donors as well. It doesn't follow that because you believe a party's got the right vision for the country and you want that party to enact it, and so you give it money to enable. And this is not Nigel's personal gift. This is party donation.
Right.
No. Let me finish. And so you give money in order to get that vision enacted. It does not follow that it comes with strings. Yeah. It really doesn't.
Own vision enacted.
I'm just wondering if they're all philanthropists and rather selfless. But the whole idea of transparency and the principle, as we heard there, is it's out in the open, so you know.
And this is where the debate moves beyond politics and into a much bigger question about transparency and public trust. Kevin Maguire's argument is straightforward. When a politician receives financial support on this scale, it's reasonable for the public to ask who benefits and whether there are any conflicts of interest. Supporters of Nigel Farage argue that the money was a personal gift and that no rules were broken. Critics, however, question whether such large financial backing can ever be completely separated from politics, especially when it comes from someone with significant business interests. That's why the parliamentary standard investigation has attracted so much attention. Whatever your political views, this story isn't just about one donation. It's about accountability, public confidence, and whether elected officials should be held to the highest standards of transparency. Those are questions that matter regardless of which party you support, and they'll likely remain in the spotlight until the investigation reaches a conclusion. What do you think? Are these concerns justified, or has this story been blown out of proportion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next one.